Usato is a regular student who blends in with everyone. While popular students get all the attention, Usato finds joy in climbing trees to return baby birds to their nests. Deep down, he dreams of an adventure beyond his ordinary life. One rainy afternoon, Usato forgets his umbrella. Refusing to steal, he waits under the roof for hours. Finally, the student council president Suzune appears and announces that all students must leave the school. Usato starts running in the rain, but the student council vice president Kazuki offers him his spare umbrella. Usato is surprised Kazuki even knows he exists. The three decide to walk home together. Along the way, Usato admits he thought Kazuki only talked to girls to pass time. Kazuki clarifies that he talks to girls out of sympathy, and Suzune says she likes talking to boys. Impressed by Suzune's academic and athletic skills, Usato asks if they're dating. They explain it's just council work. Suzune likes straightforward questions. Talking about their futures, Suzune says she achieves every goal easily, making her feel like she doesn't belong to this world. Usato relates to that feeling. Suddenly, Suzune and Kazuki stop at the sound of bells. Usato hears nothing, but a magic circle appears beneath them. They awaken in a grand hall before King Lloyd. Kazuki is angry, while Suzune is excited. The king explains they were summoned by irreversible magic. 2 years ago, demons invaded, and now their leader regains power, so they had to bring people from another world. Kazuki demands to go home. The king says the magic can't be undone and asks for their help. Suzune asks how they were chosen. Court mage Welsi explains the bell sound means they are true heroes. Usato realizes he came by mistake but hopes to use magic anyway. Welsi takes them to a crystal to test their magic. Suzune's test turns the crystal yellow, indicating she has extremely high magic and lightning magic. Kazuki touches the crystal and it turns white, meaning light magic, which is very effective against demons. Usato touches the crystal and it turns green. Welsi panics and drags Usato to the king. When the king sees Usato's magic is green, he orders his guards to get him out of the castle quickly. Usato asks if anyone else's magic is green. Just then, the rescue team's leader, Rose, enters the room. The king tries to lie, but when Usato says his magic is green, Rose hears it. She announces that she is taking him to teach him healing magic. Welsi tries to save him, but Rose breaks her magic and grabs Usato, taking him away. Welsi tells Suzune and Kazuki that Usato has been taken just outside the castle town to the rescue team's base. Welsi explains that healing mages are rare and Rose's training is very strict. At the base, Rose says Usato has the potential for healing magic. She introduces him to her strong and large companions. Usato gets scared. Rose says she will teach him healing magic strictly. Usato gently asks for a different teacher, but Rose ignores him and tells her companion Tongue to put Usato in his room to sleep. The men say his training will be very tough. That night, Usato stays awake, trying to find hope for his future. Usato wakes up hoping his summoning was just a dream, but soon accepts the reality. Despite the shock of being suddenly taken by Rose and the fear of the harsh training ahead, he shows courage when Suzune and Kazuki come to visit him. Determined to be useful, Usato vows to endure the hardship. Suzune explains that she and Kazuki will also begin training, and the three agree to do their best. While he regrets that his friends are dragged into this, Usato sees how excited Suzune is about this new world. His main goal becomes to grow strong enough to support them. Usato is shocked by Rose's words when she clarifies that this place is not a prison and he can see whoever he wants when he is not training. She gives him a diary to record his daily progress and thoughts. After breakfast, the first day of training surprisingly feels relaxed. Rose instructs Usato to sit, feel the magic power within his body, and practice releasing it. She hands him a book detailing the demons and other races of the world, and a map showing how close their kingdom is to demon territory. Usato feels relieved to read it, as all summoned heroes automatically receive a language comprehension spell. That initial hope shatters the next day when physical training begins. Rose relentlessly forces Usato to run. By the third day, his legs give out and he falls. Instead of comfort, Rose strikes him, and with her magic, instantly heals his muscles. She orders him to run to save his life, and says that even if he dies, she will revive him so he can keep running. Fearful of arguing, Usato silently writes his frustration in his diary. On the fourth day, he trains with the rescue team's larger companions but falls a full lap behind, enduring their insults. The next 2 days of running and strict orders, Usato's hands glow faintly with healing magic, giving him a little hope. On the 7th day, the exhausted Usato angers Rose more than usual, and she beats him harder, making him wonder if she somehow found out what he wrote about her in his diary written in Japanese. She uses magic to toss him into the air and forces him to run again as soon as he hits the ground. By the 9th day, Usato successfully heals his entire body instead of minor wounds, and finally understands the need for healing magic. By the 10th day, he no longer feels fatigued, and he can use his magic to heal his body on command. However, he starts to worry that running alone won't prepare him for battle. Just as he considers questioning her methods, Rose orders him to run 30 more laps. On the 11th day, the training intensifies with added push-ups. When Usato completes over 800 push-ups, Rose explains her strategy. By increasing his speed and stamina, he will be able to reach injured comrades on the battlefield faster and save them. On the 13th day, seeing his progress, Rose adds heavy weights to his training. On the 14th day, things escalate when a companion steals Usato's lunch. Enraged, Usato retaliates and realizes he is fully adapted to training with weights. A week later, Suzune and Kazuki find Usato's body fully strengthened. He is easily doing push-ups with Rose on his back. When he says she's too light, Rose places a heavy rock on his back, but Usato heals his muscles and finishes the exercise. Impressed, Rose decides that his progress is ahead of schedule. Their meeting is interrupted by the kingdom's army commander and strongest knight, Sigles, who accuses Rose of ruining a boy. Rose replies that her methods differ from knights, as she is making Usato her right hand because of his stubbornness, refusal to give up, and because he survived her training. Sigles also mentions her order to return to duty in the army, which she dismisses by pointing to her useless right eye. During a lunch break, hosted by a girl named Celia, Usato realizes she is the princess, and they eat together. Usato admits that training was tough at first, but now he's enjoying life and wants to grow strong enough to support them. When the companion who stole his lunch returns with new food, Usato immediately speaks to him in a hostile manner, and they begin to fight. Seeing Usato adapt so quickly to this environment, Kazuki decides he needs to train harder, so he does not fall behind, and Suzune realizes they may all have been brought to this world for a reason. That night, while bathing, Usato reflects on his physical changes. He has become incredibly strong by constantly damaging and healing his muscles, yet he wonders if he is mentally prepared for a real battlefield. The next morning, Rose announces they are leaving the base, causing fear among the rescue team. They head towards the darkness of Linger, a forest known for dangerous monsters. Rose orders Usato to hunt a grand grizzly. Despite his protests that he has no combat experience and only knows how to run, Rose offers no guidance. Instead, she tosses him into the air and directly into the forest. As he falls towards the trees, his survival instincts kick in. His body begins to glow with healing magic, and he prepares to save himself. Usato tries to stay positive about his mission, as he only has to hunt a 2-meter-tall bear. However, when he sees it, he is shocked by its massive size and claws. Using the speed he gained from Rose's training, Usato starts running, but he sees the bear chasing him easily. He also realizes the bear is not alone. To escape, Usato jumps into a nearby flowing waterfall, thinking the bears won't follow him in the water. He rests and checks his gear, a small knife, water bottle, and some food. Postponing the hunt for now, he falls asleep on a bed of leaves. The next day, Usato decides to scout his enemy and find scratch marks on a tree. Hearing rustling in the bushes, he prepares to fight, but finds an injured rabbit-like creature. Usato immediately heals it and tells it to be careful. The rabbit starts following him. Despite Usato's attempts to stop it and explain he's hunting a dangerous creature, the rabbit stays with him, and Usato realizes it's leading him. Following the rabbit, he reaches the bears and sees they are a family. Instead of attacking, he decides to observe them. During the break, Usato drinks bad water and gets severe poisoning. His healing magic tries to neutralize the poison. The next day, the rabbit leads him to clean water. Suddenly, the rabbit panics. A giant snake emerges from the shadows. Realizing this creature is more dangerous than anything in his books, Usato freezes in fear. After it leaves, he decides to stay away from the snake. 4 days pass. Knowing he can't return without defeating the Grand Grizzly, Usato decides to fight it the next day. When the time comes, the rabbit tries to stop him. Usato waits for the rain to stop, but then decides to go. Reaching the bear's den, Usato is horrified to see the entire family slaughtered. The snake had killed them for sport. From the rubble, a living cub emerges, crying and trying to wake its mother. Seeing this tragedy, Usato decides to avenge them and tells the cub to wait for his return. Meanwhile, at the rescue team base, Suzune and Kazuki arrive and are shocked to learn that Usato has been in the dangerous forest for 10 days. Kazuki is worried, while Suzune trusts Usato and believes that if he wasn't ready, Rose would never have sent him. In the forest, Usato eats his saved food, makes a spear, and tells the rabbit to lead him to the snake and run away once there. After a long distance, they find the snake, but Usato is horrified to see the snake attacking the bear cub that had followed him. Usato attacks the snake, and the snake retaliates. Usato dodges and strikes the snake's eye, but falls backward. Healing himself, he plans to exploit the snake's weakness. He attacks again, but the snake bites his arm. Enduring the pain, Usato stabs inside the snake's mouth with his knife. Despite the strike, Usato feels weak from the venom. Fortunately, his previous experience with poisonous water helps him know how to heal internally, neutralizing the venom's effect. The snake attacks with its tail, but the bear cub intervenes, helping Usato. Jumping off the cub's back, Usato lands on the snake, punches it, and stabs his spear into its head. The cub pins the snake down, and they defeat it together. Exhausted, Usato uses his remaining magic to fight the venom, leaving him unable to move. The snake rises again. Unable to move, Usato orders the cub to run. Usato looks to the sky and shouts. Instantly, Rose falls from the sky and kills the snake. Rose explains that the rabbit is her pet named Cairo, sent to watch over him. Rose says she was nearby and wanted to help only if needed. She didn't expect the snake to come, which is a weapon created by the demon army that Commander Siglis failed to destroy during the last attack. She is surprised it was strong enough to defeat a Grand Grizzly. Usato questions how she could expect him to fight such a creature as a newcomer. Rose clarifies that she didn't expect him to win. Her goal was to test his abilities by putting him in a difficult situation. When Usato says he was about to die, the cub agrees. Usato comforts the cub. Seeing them, Rose says Usato is just like her, and the cub will return with him. She takes Usato and the cub back to the base. Back at the base, Rose explains that Usato has successfully passed her test. She says that his ability to endure pain, both physically and mentally, makes him capable of standing with her on the battlefield, traits the other two healers on the team lack. She tells him to be proud of himself. Usato asks Rose what she meant by saying he could succeed. She delivers important news that the demon army is about to attack. In the demon territory, the demon lord asks for the latest on the state of the attack on the Linger Kingdom. Third Army Commander Amila reports her army is ready to attack. The Linger Kingdom had previously escaped them, but the Demon Lord assigns Amila to lead the attack, and she vows to achieve victory. After she leaves, the Demon Doctor Hyraluk discusses Amila's anxiety. She tells him to focus on his work. Hyraluk reveals his new weapon, a demon-created monster prototype, a poisonous and large beast. He says his previous monster went missing after being wounded by Siglis, but he promises this one is much stronger than before. Amila hopes so too, as the Linger Kingdom has a group more difficult than warriors, called kidnappers. They carry away the wounded before the enemy notices, saving lives and reducing damage. Their leader is Rose, a formidable warrior who opposes the Demon Lord and heals soldiers on the battlefield's front lines. Amila plans to eliminate Rose, but since she is now a commander and cannot fight herself, she intends to send the Dark Mage, Black Knight. At the base, Rose tells Usato that he will go with her to the front lines to heal the wounded. Usato doubts his abilities, but Rose says he has time to improve. Later, Usato rests on the bed and feeds his bear cub some fruit, which he has named Blurin. Blurin snatches an apple from Usato's hand. Usato also sees the rabbit who had previously tricked him. Usato feeds it too. Rose arrives and smiles at the name Usato gave the bear. She tells him they had been allowed to keep Blurin, but the bear must earn his keep. Blurin becomes part of Usato's training. Usato must carry the heavy cub and run as if rescuing a wounded soldier. Usato adapts to running with weight, but Rose orders him to run faster, saying that if he slows down, wounded soldiers won't be saved. Suddenly, Tong and the other rescue team members attack Usato, creating a battlefield environment as per Rose's secret orders. For hours, Usato dodges stink bombs, leaps over logs, and avoids stepping on the rabbit. Eventually, his body grows exhausted. Rose heals him and explains that his mental endurance had depleted. On the battlefield, fear, stress, and impatience tire the body faster than physical labor. To improve, he must strengthen his mind. Then Rose orders Usato to carry Blurin on his back and spend the rest of the afternoon running around the castle town. Usato thinks people will panic at the sight of a monster, but he's surprised to see them calm. Blurin leads Usato to a fruit vendor. Usato has no money. He learns from the vendor that people didn't panic because they recognize his rescue team uniform. They are used to the team's appearances. The vendor offers them fruit for free, and Blurin bites Usato's hand. As they leave, a girl named Amako watches them with interest. On his way to meet friends, another rescue team healer, Orga, approaches Usato. Orga is surprised that Usato is a summoned hero and is impressed that he is able to keep up with Rose's training, which was impossible for him and his sister Ururu. Orga explains that he and Ururu run a clinic in the city and treat citizens. During war, they stay behind and treat soldiers brought in by Tong and others. When Usato says Rose wants him on the front lines, Orga is surprised and explains that it's the most dangerous place. Usato thinks about Kazuki and Suzune, but understands the rescue team's importance. Orga advises Usato not to be angry with Rose and says she doesn't know how to deal with people. Usato surprises him by saying he never hated her, as he knows she's trying to make him strong. After Usato leaves, Orga tells Ururu, who is arriving there, that she'll like Usato when she meets him. At the castle, guards let Usato and Blurin enter because Rose has given them permission. Usato finds Suzune in the training yard. Seeing the bear, Suzune thinks animals will love her, but Blurin slaps her hand away. When she tries again, the bear bites her hand. Usato jokes, but when Blurin bites him too, Suzune laughs. Seeing blisters on Suzune's hands from harsh training, Usato heals them. She asks if he only came to see her, but he clarifies that he came to see his friends. Suzune explains that Kazuki is training outside the kingdom to fight real monsters with Siglis. Meanwhile, Sigli informs Kazuki of the demon's impending attack and says the army's morale has risen due to the heroes. Moments later, their group encounters monsters. Suzune waits for her combat training, but tells Usato to worry about her. When he says he is worried, she smiles, and they both laugh. As he runs back, Usato reflects on his growth. Once only able to admire people who could do things he couldn't, he now wants to be strong to protect his friends. That night, Usato stops Rose from leaving. He admits he was scared of the snake monster and initially feared the battlefield, but knowing he can fight to save lives instead of taking them gives him a purpose greater than his fear. Rose smiles and says the rescue team's mission is exactly that, snatching up the wounded that the enemy is about to finish off and keeping those at death's door alive, even if it risks his life. For the first time, Usato truly feels like a member of the rescue team. The next morning, Rose delivers a message from the king. Usato must accompany Suzune outside the kingdom walls for her training. Usato was surprised to learn that Kazuki was with Siglis and wonders why he must go with Suzune. He learns he was initially supposed to go with Kazuki, but had just returned from the forest. His role is to heal only when necessary, and the mission will last just 3 days. Suzune is happy to see Usato, and even more excited when she sees Blurrin, thinking the bear will help them bond. Usato explains he brought the cub only because Blurrin dislikes everyone else. Suzune introduces the others in their group, Knight Aruku, whom Usato recognizes as an old gay guard, and Mage Korin. Before leaving, Rose gives a stern warning. Usato's magic can heal wounds and poison, but cannot revive the dead, so they must be cautious. Satisfied with Suzune's training under Siglis, Rose leaves without saying more to Usato, as he expected. Meanwhile, at the castle, a worried Celia advises Kazuki to rest after his intense sword practice. Kazuki reassures her that the experience fighting monsters near the darkness of Linger was crucial. As Usato's group heads toward the same forest area, Suzune tries to hug a sleeping Blurrin, but Usato stops her. When the bear wakes, Suzune insists on carrying him on her back, but his weight causes her to fall, and Usato must heal her. Suddenly, Korin senses others nearby. A group of bandits appears, angry that their attack failed, and demands their valuables. Aruku refuses. Despite being outnumbered, the bandits seem weak compared to Rose's training, and Usato tells the surprised Suzune that they are weak. When the bandits target Blurrin to skin him, Suzune fiercely defends the cub and pushes one bandit back with lightning magic, not killing him. When the bandits approach to avoid her magic, Usato begins giving attack commands. She defeats them easily but tells Usato to stop giving her orders like that. Their fight is interrupted by a stampede of wild boars, which surprisingly stray far from their usual deep forest. When Blurrin helps scare them off, Usato saves Suzune from an attack and uses his magic to save her as they fall into the river he jumped into before, crashing through trees. Usato rests by the riverbank for a while, and the worried Suzune vows to take him to safety before he can say he's fine, embarrassing them both. Checking their supplies, they realize they don't have enough food for the night. When Usato mentions the night and rain, Suzune admits her parents never let her climb trees, making Usato's tree sleeping method impossible. Instead, they find a small cave. After changing out of their wet clothes, Suzune uses her lightning magic to catch fish and start a fire, helping them survive. Sitting apart, she looks at Usato's strong body again. When the poisonous monkeys arrive, Usato warns Suzune that they are poisonous, but when she sees a baby monkey, she pets it. The monkey immediately bites her, and she falls, still insisting that she was right to pet it. At the castle, Korin's companion reports that both are missing. When Kazuki is told this, because Celia insisted, he tries to start a search immediately. Rose stops him, reassuring him that since Usato is with Suzune, they will be fine. In the cave, Suzune and Usato spend time together after healing. When Suzune asks if he wants to go home, Usato admits he does, but has reasons to stay. Without hesitation, Suzune says she never wants to return. Tired of her old life, she is ready to leave her family, friends, and past for the freedom she finds here. Fully understanding her, Usato also says he is tired of his normal life. At first, he was just avoiding being a burden, but now he truly wants to protect his friends and the people of the kingdom as a rescue team member. Suzune also wants to protect the people as a hero. They decide to focus on their current world. Suzune says Usato has changed so much, and he admits she's much more relatable now. They say goodnight to each other. The next morning, Blurrin suddenly approaches them, and with him is a tired Aruku. Aruku explains that they were searching when Blurrin caught Usato's scent and ran off. When Blurrin sniffs the air of his old home, Usato tells the others about his parents' death. After a moment of silence, Blurrin seems ready to leave. Suzune smiles and sees that the bear has decided to stay with Usato. Together, they decide it's time to go home now. Back at the castle, King Lloyd greets Usato and Suzune calmly. When Suzune apologizes for causing trouble, the king says he should be the one apologizing for putting them in that situation. Usato quickly lies to avoid questions about Rose's training methods, saying he was talking about dangerous situations in his old world. Then the king asks about his rescue squad training. Usato lies again, saying everything is going great. He panics seeing Rose smile as if he gave the exact answer she wanted, making him wonder if she mentally controlled him. After they leave, the king tells Rose and Siglis to stop, and Usato is surprised to see their serious expressions. Kazuki arrives and scolds Usato for being too calm. Celia explains Kazuki was so worried he was about to leave the castle to find them. Suzune calls him careless, and Usato reminds her she was bitten by a poisonous monkey, cutting her off in embarrassment. Kazuki is surprised at how confident Rose was when she said they would be fine in the forest, and Usato thinks to himself that the forest is much easier compared to her training. Seeing his pure-hearted friend, Usato says Kazuki should never change. Only he and Rose need to be tainted. Before parting, Celia praises their deep friendship. Wanting to be part of their friend circle, she asks Kazuki not to address her formally anymore and call her Celia, which he happily agrees to. Inside the castle, Minister Sergio informs the king that the captured bandits saw very few monsters in the plains, and moments later, a horde of boars was seen fleeing towards the forest. Siglis suspects the monsters are escaping the demon lord's growing army. Expecting a full-force enemy attack this time, the king orders the army to be on high alert. He asks Rose to locate the demon army, a dangerous task she accepts as the fastest person in the kingdom. However, she flatly refuses the king's second request to return to her position as battalion commander. Touching her injured eye, she explains her deep regret as the first healer ever appointed battalion commander, as her pride led to the death of her entire squad. This wound is a constant reminder of her mistakes. She created the rescue squad not to fight, but to save lives. The king argues that the squad saved many lives 2 years ago, but Rose reveals her true goal, to train someone who won't die. She explains that her rigorous training, pushing physical limits, mastering healing magic, and forging a strong will was all to find someone like Usato. He has the instinct to survive, the adaptability to thrive, and the stubbornness to stand before her, reminding her of her fallen soldiers. She is determined to make him the ideal healer. Apologizing for her emotional outburst, she heads toward the border. That night, Usato receives a letter from Rose stating there will be no training tomorrow. Instead, he must deliver another letter. Meanwhile, at the border, Demon Commander Emila forces her army to build a massive bridge for the impending attack. Black Knight criticizes her enthusiasm, but Emila flaunts her high rank. Demon scientist Hyraluk announces the bridge will be completed in a few hours. A demon reports seeing a Lillinger scout, but Emila dismisses the threat, thinking their warning will arrive too late. She is wrong. The scout is Rose, who destroys the bridge from afar by hurling a massive tree trunk. Emila becomes enraged by this attack, and the kingdom gains precious time. The next day, Usato sets out to deliver the letter, and despite Blurren's absence, he is surprised to see townspeople staring at him. The fruit vendor, a familiar face, offers him food, but he does not have time and decides to come back later, unaware that a strange girl is watching him. Usato arrives at the clinic and meets Ururu. She allows him to see her brother Orga treating a patient. Usato is surprised by Orga's shiny, smooth, and perfect healing magic, which is completely different from his own magic. Later, Ururu asks about the rescue squad and admits she and Orga couldn't endure Rose's harsh training, making her afraid of Rose. Reading the letter, Orga keeps its contents secret but agrees with Ururu that Rose seems happier now, though Usato suspects it's because she has a new target to train on. Suddenly, Orga is called to treat a man who fell from a roof, accompanied by 2 others injured. Seeing the tired doctor in trouble, Usato steps forward to help. Usato hesitates, thinking battlefield wounds will be far worse than Orga and Suzune's minor injuries, and he must heal them amidst chaos. Orga senses his hesitation and advises him that it doesn't matter who or where they are, he just needs to believe he can save them. Remembering that Rose believes in him, Usato calms down and successfully treats the injured man. Orga praises him and invites him to help again. As Usato prepares to leave, Orga becomes serious with Ururu. The letter summoned them for battle. Knowing Usato lacks combat experience, Orga hopes the boy's belief in his own abilities will be enough, and he promises to support him however he can. Later, when Usato returns to the fruit vendor to get fruit, the same strange girl stalks him. She mysteriously says Usato is the only one who could see it, and thus this is a future he can change. Her eye glows, and visions of the horrors of war flood Usato's mind, ending with Black Knight killing his friends. Frozen in fear, Usato hears the girl say she showed him the vision as a favor, and now he owes her. Before he can react, she disappears. Usato starts following the fox girl to ask about the terrifying vision, but finds nothing. When a guard says he didn't see her, Rose suddenly appears, scaring the guard away. Usato changes the subject and asks about her mission. Rose reveals she destroyed an enemy bridge, and when Usato says that's more than spying, she grabs his neck. She explains that she has seen the fox girl before. She is a 12-year-old girl who escaped bandits and kidnappers and reached the capital 2 years ago. Demi-humans, humans with animal traits, are highly valued for their appearance and sometimes possess rare magic. When Usato asks if that magic could include showing visions of the future, Rose confirms rumors of their future sight ability. When she asks why he's interested, he lies that he read about it in a book. That night, the king thanks Rose for buying them some time, but she warns that another bridge will be built in a few days. The king decides to inform the public about the attack tomorrow, but wants to speak privately with Kazuki and Suzune first. Later, Kazuki hesitates to speak with Celia. Suzune asks what happened, but Kazuki evades the question. Unable to sleep due to the visions, Usato remembers the fox girl's words that only he can change the future. Outside, he sees Kazuki and approaches him. Kazuki reveals a hidden burden. He fears battle and the pressure of everyone calling him a hero. That fear took hold during his first fight with monsters. Usato, realizing that Kazuki's calm face hides deep anxiety, tells him he doesn't need to meet everyone's expectations and can prioritize himself. Usato then reveals his own resolve. Despite his fears, he chose to enter battle to save lives. He reminds Kazuki that, though he was accidentally brought to this world, he has found belonging here through friends like Kazuki, and that he will always be friends with Kazuki regardless of his decisions. Impressed, Kazuki declares that he will fight not for fame, but to protect Usato and Suzune. Then Suzune arrives and teases them, but inside she's happy that Usato helped Kazuki. When she asks if Usato wants her not to fight, he admits he does, but respects her decision to stay in this world. The next day, the king addresses the public, announcing the impending demon attack in the plains. Acknowledging the enemy's strength, he highlights his advantages: heroes Kazuki and Suzune, and critical support from the rescue squad. The crowd cheers. Later, Kazuki approaches Celia, asks her to pray for his safety, and promises to return. A surprised but pleased Celia agrees. Elsewhere, a worried Ururu tries to pet Blurrin, but the bear slaps her hand away. When Rose's rabbit joins Blurrin in rejecting her, Orga tells Usato that her odd behavior is hiding her fear of her first battle. Usato is then summoned to Rose's room, suspecting a trap, but she only wants to discuss battle strategy. She clears up his misunderstanding about her character. Initially, he won't be on the front lines, but will stay behind with Orga and Uru to treat soldiers brought in by others. Additionally, she warns him not to treat the wrong people, not the enemy, but warriors advancing despite injuries, as treating them could slow them down. It will be Usato's job to make quick decisions. Then Rose formally gives him his rescue squad uniform, which is bright colored to stand out on the battlefield. Excited, Usato puts it on, and his strong body fits perfectly. However, Rose becomes serious and grabs him tightly, giving a final warning: healers are not invincible. He must never consider his life insignificant or think about sacrificing himself, and she threatens to kill him if he does. Usato understands and confidently vows to save everyone, including himself. Thinking about the vision, Usato resolves that no matter what the future holds, he will not let Kazuki or Suzune die. Soon, their group travels to a temporary base camp. On the way, Usato asks about the demons. Rose explains they look human but possess immense physical strength and magic, and even the regular soldiers are really strong. When she asks if he's afraid, Usato smiles and says he's already encountered someone far scarier. He credits his strength to her harsh training, and admits his initial goal was simply to get ahead of her. Thinking she'll catch him, Usato is surprised when Rose doesn't react angrily. Instead, she becomes very serious and remembers her old squad. 5 years ago, Rose was the battalion commander of the Linger Knights. When the king receives reports of demons near the darkness of Linger, he orders his guards to protect merchants, but strictly forbids direct combat with demons. Expecting an imminent attack, Sigilis prepares his army, and a worried Rose intends to ready her battalion. When Night Owl interrupts her thoughts, Rose scolds her, warning never to underestimate the enemy, and announces a rigorous training schedule for the squad. As the knights angrily blame Owl for the upcoming challenge, Rose ignores her plea for assistance. A week later, new reports indicate demons attacking monsters in the Linger region. Sent to investigate, Rose informs her squad of the estimated 10 to 30 enemies. Despite All's attempts to motivate them, the knights remain displeased with the intense training, though All believes it has made them stronger. Deciding the mission is too dangerous for her rabbit Kiro, Rose leaves it behind. However, when Rose announces she will join them on the mission, the squad's morale rises. Knowing their commander can heal their wounds instantly, they feel invincible and willingly commit to the mission. On the first day of the forest search, they find nothing. Rose changes tactics tactics, ordering the squad to leave their horses and scout the dangerous western area. When the knights question the decision, All says she senses something there. Trusting their deputy commander, the squad complies. At the camp that night, Rose is on the first watch and sees All awake. All asks a serious question. Why was she chosen as deputy commander? All believes she is an ordinary knight who mostly does minor tasks. Rose replies that All never makes mistakes and always gives her best effort, which ultimately qualifies her to become a commander. A terrified All remembers her past when she was a rebellious and stubborn knight who solved her problems through fighting. Her attitude doesn't change until she meets Rose, who never gave up, physically punishing All when she tried to flee, chasing her, and knocking her unconscious when she tried to strike her. To All, Rose was the first person who didn't abandon her when everyone else did. That unwavering support forced Aoi to improve, not out of pride, but to never lose to Rose. Rose bluntly calls Aoi a brat that does not want to leave the nest, surprising her. Rose explains she chose All because she never gives up and always moves forward, a stable foundation her team will naturally follow. Al begins to understand, but Rose tells her to wipe the smile from her face and warns her to accept that the world changes, though the fact that Rose was once their commander will never change. The other knights, who had been eavesdropping, step out to encourage Al, expressing their deep trust in her. Embarrassed, Al threatens to beat them up before the demons do if they don't sleep. The next morning, the squad finds signs of demons hunting monsters, a confusing strategy. Al suspects has a hidden purpose. A sharp noise leads them toward a group of demons. Rose orders her squad to stay back and confronts their leader, who vaguely states the mission will greatly benefit them in the future. Rose gives them a chance to leave peacefully. The demon praises her bravery but refuses, intending to kill them. Rose hands All the unit command, and All declares that they will show the demons the power of their teamwork. The demon leader attacks, but Rose immediately pushes him back with her speed. Seeing him survive with the help of the wind, she throws massive tree trunks at him, then bombards him relentlessly. The demon admits he's never seen a human move so fast. When he traps her with a wall of dangerous wind swords, thinking she won't risk passing through them, Rose surprises him by moving through them and healing her wounds instantly. He realizes that she is like a monster in human form, a healer who uses her ability to constantly heal herself for physical strength, speed, and brawling. They introduce themselves to each other. He is Nero. He draws a cursed sword that prevents wounds from healing, and Nero intends to kill her. Rose smiles and declares that she will end him first. During the fight, Rose strikes multiple times, but Nero manages to cut her face. Though she heals the wound, the cursed nature of his sword makes the battle dangerous. Acknowledging their strength, Nero admits that Rose and her unit are the toughest opponents he has faced, and he considers them the greatest obstacle to the demons' objectives. 5 years ago, during the war against demons, Nero's sword gleams in the darkness. He declares that the era of human rule will end with the awakening of their cruel yet victorious leader, and he exerts his power to defeat Rose's group so they can awaken their lord. The battle turns dangerous when a knight's strike fails to affect a demon. The demons, deeming themselves mere weapons of the demon lord, begin sacrificing themselves to kill the knights. Sensing the threat, Rose rushes to her companion, but Nero blocks her path. He fulfills his threat by taking the life of one of her subordinates. When another knight falls, it becomes clear that the demons do not care about their lives. Despite All's attempts to manage the situation, the knights are overwhelmed by Nero's sacrificial tactics. Enraged, Rose attacks Nero, but her fury gives him the chance to slash her right eye. When she tries to heal it, Nero reveals that his cursed sword cuts away mana, leaving the wound cursed so she cannot heal it. Seeing her impaired vision and her soldiers dying while begging for healing, Rose desperately tries to end the fight, but Nero delivers a deadly strike. Rose's fear intensifies when All sacrifices herself to block the strike. Seeing her entire unit slaughtered, Rose regrets that they believed she would always save them. She wishes All had just fled and curses her weakness. When Nero advances to finish her, saying the knight's deaths won't be forgotten, Rose grabs his sword. She curses him for ordering his soldiers to give their lives, and says a demon like him could never understand that sacrificing oneself in battle is the ultimate humiliation. She unleashes her fury and beats him badly. Pinning Nero to a tree, she prepares to kill him despite her weakened body. Suddenly, a young Amila arrives, eager to save Nero. Seeing such loyalty to a cruel demon who sacrifices his own subordinates surprises her, and Rose remembers All, halting her attack. Hearing the real All call her name, she lets them flee. Badly injured, Rose crawls toward All and silences her so she can heal her. However, the wound is too deep and Rose's magic fails. All accepts her fate without regret and expresses joy in fighting alongside Rose. As she dies, All tells Rose never to change. Seeing her squad's bodies, Rose screams in pain. Later, Rose informs the king that the demon lord will soon be resurrected. Drowning in regret, she resigns as battalion commander and asks for her knighthood to be revoked. After the shocking resignation, a slain knight's family approaches her. Though she apologizes in shame, they thank her for bringing their son's body home and say that working under her transformed their troubled son into an honorable man. Rose returns to her empty home and begins to cry. A month later, Siglis visits to see if she is considering joining her slain soldiers. Though Rose admits the thought crossed her mind, she assures the worried Siglis that she wasn't serious. She explains that the curse on her wounds was temporary and they are healing, but she refuses to heal her eye, deciding to keep it as punishment and a reminder of her sins. Understanding that all sacrificed herself to save her, Rose contemplates her future and rejects the idea of revenge. In a quiet moment, she envisions her slain squad. An illusion of awe reminds Rose of her own advice. The world changes, and she must accept it to move forward. But the truth will never change that she led them. Remembering All's final wish that she never change, and knowing her always hopeful squad would mock her current sadness, Rose shakes off her grief. She removes her bandages with renewed purpose, vowing never to show weakness again and to live as someone her squad would be proud of, one with a new goal, a force that saves lives on the battlefield. That rescue squad will need at least 5 members, including 2 healers. But most importantly, someone like her, a healer capable of fighting on the front lines and saving the wounded while eliminating threats. Knowing this would be impossible for a normal person, she begins her search. Back in the present, Rose surprises Usato by saying how happy she is to find him. She explains that using healing magic to push the body beyond its limits is incredibly difficult, and that they both can do it. She tells Usato he has all the qualities she desired and is confident he won't die, and also says he doesn't even know how precious his own life is. Usato is pleased by the compliments, but his smile annoys Rose. Elsewhere, Amila receives news that the new bridge is complete. She tells Black Knight that she can do whatever she wants in the upcoming battle. Assuming it will be easier to defeat humans, Amila warns Black Knight not to underestimate the kidnappers' battlefield medics who extract the wounded from the battlefield. Though Black Knight dismisses them as cowards who flee, Amila warns that they are beasts. Excited by the possibility of a real fight, Black Knight eagerly awaits battle. The Linger army finishes setting up camp. Usato wakes up, realizing the battle is about to begin. Suzune proudly shows off her new armor, which enhances her lightning magic without hindering movement. When Usato assumes she prefers practical armor over pretty things, she defensively says she likes pretty things, like the cactuses she grows at home. Before the argument escalates, Kazuki intervenes, informing them that Siglis has called a meeting. Siglis announces that the Demon Lord's army will arrive in 30 minutes. The plan is to launch a magical strike first, then Kazuki, Suzune, and the knights will clear a path to the enemy general and attempt to defeat them. Waiting at the border, Kazuki senses Suzune's concern about Usato. She admits her worry, but feels empowered knowing Usato accepts her true self. Kazuki teases her for details, but she promises to explain once they return safely. Suddenly, the demon army appears. The Linger army launches their magical strike, only to realize they attacked a decoy. The real army approaches from the opposite side. Behind them, Rose orders the rescue squad bring the wounded back, but most importantly, prioritize saving their lives. Orga and Ururu will be in the healing tents, guarded by a kid. Usato and Blurin will remain at the base to treat incoming wounded until it's time to enter the battlefield. Despite his worry for his friends, Ururu reminds Usato that he must ensure his own safety first. Soon, Tong brings in a severely wounded soldier who panics, saying a giant snake blasted her off the battlefield. Shaking off the thoughts of the snake fought in the forest, a panicked Usato focuses on healing her. On the battlefield, the snake causes massive casualties. Elsewhere, Black Knight is disappointed by human weakness. When a soldier attacks her from behind, he is shocked when he's the one being stabbed instead. As she prepares to finish him, rescue runner Gerd arrives, stealing the soldier using stink bombs to distract her. Recognizing Gerd as a kidnapper, Black Knight decides that the battle might be entertaining. Back at the base, seeing the wounded arriving, Rose decides it's time for her and Usato to enter the battlefield. Before parting, Rose warns Usato of a dangerous enemy using strange magic, clad in black armor. Remembering his terrifying vision, Usato freezes. Seeing his hesitation, Rose asks if he's ready to take a life. When Usato insists his job is to save lives, Rose calls him naive and whispers a secret technique in his ear. Encouraged by her words, Usato runs into the chaos. He successfully saves a wounded soldier in the midst of battle, dodging attacks and healing the man as they reach safety. Rose also makes her presence known, saving soldiers across the battlefield. Meanwhile, Suzune destroys enemy ranks with her lightning magic, hiding her distress over all the casualties. When Kazuki warns her about the giant snake, they agree it must be defeated to reach the general. Suddenly, they encounter Black Knight. When Linger soldiers carelessly carelessly attack her, their strikes immediately rebound, causing heavy damage to the attackers. Suzune stops Kazuki from attacking, thinking the knight is deflecting the strikes. When Kazuki cautiously tests her with his light magic, the damage rebounds under her armor, confirming her theory. Black Knight is impressed that they figured out her power so quickly. As Usato runs into the battlefield, the vision of his friend's deaths painfully resurfaces. Entering the enemy ranks, he is saved by the same soldier he rescued earlier, who guides him toward the heroes. Usato quickly tries to reach them. On the front lines, Suzune devises a dangerous plan to defeat Black Knight. Though Kazuki is terrified, Suzune reassures him that if they fail, Usato will heal them. Thinking the knight can't deflect attacks she can't see, Suzune blocks her vision while they strike together. Though they still face rebounding damage, Suzune sees that one strike on the knight's back did not rebound. Believing she has found a weakness, Suzune uses Kazuki's light magic to blind Black Knight and strikes her back. However, Black Knight reveals she was faking weakness. Activating her reflectability, she severely injures Suzune and strikes Kazuki through and through. The knight proudly states that her power doesn't rely on sight. She simply chooses what to return and deliberately allow the backstrike to mislead them. Declaring that she cannot be defeated, Black Knight leaves Suzune troubled. Completely hopeless, a broken Suzune falls to the ground, wishing she could apologize to Usato. Falling before Black Knight, Suzune recalls the joyful days when she and Kazuki improved school rules, just before she first met Usato in the rain. She remembers her excitement at being summoned to a new world where she could change herself, and how much it meant to her that Usato accepted her true self. She believed everything would be fine as long as they were together. In the present, demons celebrate as Black Knight prepares to strike Suzune down. Just before the deadly blow, Usato arrives, saying it won't happen while he's around, and punches the knight in the face. Regretting that he was too late to save them from injury, he immediately begins healing his friends. Angered by the interference, the knight revealed to be a woman attacks. Usato escapes with his friends, and after fully healing, Suzune counters with magic. Before the knight can strike again, Suzune quickly explains her theory. The knight's armor is made of magical power and deflects attacks, but Usato's punch somehow passed through. The knight demands revenge. Hesitant to fight, but knowing that if he wants to heal other soldiers, he has no choice, Usato tells Suzune to watch over Kazuki while he covers himself with healing magic. When he attacks, he realizes the armor can change shape, but his punches don't deflect. He believes the knight's magical power is depleted, and 2 consecutive punches confuse her further. When Kazuki regains consciousness, Suzune informs him of Usato's intervention. Black Knight is pleased that she pierced right through Usato's hand, but shocked to see him ignoring the pain as he constantly heals himself. Suzune deduces the knight's weakness, healing magic. Since Usato's fists are wrapped in healing energy, his strikes don't cause physical wounds that can be deflected. Instead, they cause intense pain as they instantly heal the struck area. Suzune says it's a strange and incorrect way to use healing magic. Refusing to believe his defeat, the knight creates a powerful explosion that sends Usato flying. Promising his worried friends that he will finish her off, Usato powers up and withstands the knight's final strike. Their energies collide, but Usato advances with his strongest strike yet. The attack releases a massive amount of healing magic, completely stripping her armor. Usato declares victory and names the attack the ultimate healing punch. It's the secret technique Rose taught him to incapacitate enemies with pain without causing lethal damage. Usato immediately begins healing nearby soldiers, who praise him for defeating Black Knight and driving back the demon army. Suzune says his victory prevented massive casualties. When she asks about the technique, Usato explains, realizing how much Rose has influenced him. Thanking him for saving them, Suzune and Kazuki decide to target the giant snake, now wreaking havoc on the front lines. Rose arrives and is surprised that Usato handled the situation, and she praises him for saving his friends and demoralizing the enemy. With the battlefield situation improving, she orders Usato to return to camp so he doesn't obstruct the soldiers' path. Usato says goodbye to his friends, and they promise to survive. As he runs off, Rose quietly praises him for surviving. At the enemy camp, Emila is furious and surprised that Black Knight was defeated, and by a member of the rescue team. Thinking it was Rose, she is shocked to learn it was someone else. Realizing that leaving their base vulnerable would be risky, and that the enemy still has Siglas, she orders a retreat. Meanwhile, Hirolook goes to get the giant snake, but sees that Kazuki and Suzune, determined not to disappoint Usato, have already struck it with a powerful magical attack. Back at the Lilinger camp, Usato works hard to heal the wounded. The entire camp stops to watch the hero's brilliant attack bring down the giant snake, and they celebrate. Rose tells Usato that the enemy is retreating. When he asks if they will pursue them, she explains that the demons are numerous. Their priority is minimizing casualties and preparing for the next battle. Rose credits Usato's rescue of the heroes for their victory. When Usato humbly says that if he hadn't been there, Rose would have saved them, she sternly corrects him. Without him, the heroes would have died and they would have lost the battle. She formally praises him for doing an excellent job as a member of the rescue squad. After enduring harsh training and the horrors of the battlefield, Usato begins to cry, overwhelmed by such encouragement. Rose realizes he's still a child. Usato admits he was afraid of demons and the deaths happening around him, but he's grateful to meet Rose because it allowed him to save lives. Rose gently says she knew others who said similar things, but now they only exist in her memories. He did a good job coming back to her alive. Exhausted, Usato gladly accepts her praise and passes out, while Rose watches him and feels proud of how far he's come. Returning from battle, Usato is summoned to the castle to receive his first official reward. While he fumbles with excitement and joy, Blurren is so engrossed in food that he doesn't pay attention, making Usato worry that the cub might be gaining weight. Moments later, Gerd arrives with another summons, but warns Usato to be cautious in the city. Usato soon discovers why. He's surrounded by grateful citizens and soldiers. A guard thanks him for saving his comrades, while others say Usato is so strong, he should join the Royal Knights. Amidst the crowd, a mysterious fox girl watches him from afar. Meeting the king and Siegless, Usato learns they need his help interrogating Black Knight. Though she answers questions, she refuses to share critical information about demon magic and commanders until she meets Usato first. Suzune takes him to the dungeon and jokingly promises to be his shield, as she once lost to the knight. Siegless explains that Usato's healing magic likely disrupted the knight's dark magic during their fight. Hearing this, Usato panics. If his magic was disrupted, it means he wasn't healing her as he thought. Realizing his punches could shatter rocks, he rushes to her cell, fearing the damage he caused because she took all his punches directly without the healing. Black Knight appears to be enduring her pain, but Usato insists on healing her. As his magic begins removing her armor, she panics, thinking it's punishment. However, she soon calms as the healing magic's soothing sensation takes over. She grabs Usato's hand, and tears fill her eyes from a sense of relief she's never felt before. Then, Rose announces she will resume training Usato to prepare for the demon's next attack. While Usato hopes to learn healing complex illnesses, Rose tells him that such magic is currently beyond his reach. Instead, seeing that he relies too much on his magic to endure damage, she decides to teach him how to dodge attacks. Her method is as straightforward as ever. She will punch him before he can react. Rose warns him that healing magic is useless against cursed weapons, which is why dodging is a crucial skill. After an intense session that knocks him unconscious, Usato wakes up hoping it was a nightmare, but Rose is right there to continue. Over the next 3 days, whenever Usato gets close to dodging, Rose increases her speed. During a break, Usato complains to Black Knight, who asks what he is doing there and seems shy, as if she wants to ask him something. Meanwhile, Usato goes to meet Kazuki and finds him training hard under Celia's watchful eyes. Usato feels a bit jealous, comparing Kazuki's excellent training with Rose's sessions. Celia explains that because of Usato's arrival, Black Knight gave the requested information, increasing the king's trust in him. Kazuki admits he would have died without Usato, but stops himself from sharing battle horrors to avoid worrying Celia. Waiting in her cell, Black Knight hears footsteps and hopes it's Usato, but finds Rose instead. Rose offers her 2 options: remain in prison forever, or be taken under Rose's wing. Before the knight can choose, Rose strikes her neck and places a mana-sealing magic tool on her. Rose declares it foolish to waste resources, keeping someone like her in a cell. She wants to make her into a proper demon. Later, as Usato runs with Blurren, he is surprised to see the knight with Rose. Rose explains the situation, and Usato feels sympathy for the demon, knowing she is going through the same struggles he faced. That night, Rose tells Usato about a new mission. To counter the Demon Lord, the king plans to form alliances with other countries. He has chosen Suzune, Kazuki, and Usato as his messengers. Rose emphasizes the mission's importance and says the kingdom's fate depends on their success, and agrees with the king that Usato can handle it. The next morning, encouraged by the townspeople, Usato meets Suzune in the market. Their conversation is interrupted when Usato spots the mysterious fox girl. He chases her down and catches her, but she reveals she was waiting for him. She introduces herself as Amako and demands that Usato repay his debt by saving her mother. While Suzune is distracted by how adorable Amako is, Amako insists they find a private place to talk. Elsewhere, Black Knight falls during her first day of rescue team training, and the others mock her exhaustion, but Rose orders her to keep moving. Usato brings Amako to his home, where Suzune begins showing off her love for cute things. While Usato worries about Suzune's attitude, Amako says she is calm with her because she already knows their secrets, including that Suzune is a hero and the nature of Usato's healing magic. Usato asks why she showed him the terrifying vision of his friends' deaths. Amako explains that as a future seer, she had to intervene to prevent the kingdom's destruction. She reveals her true goal. She came from the distant Beastlands to find a healer who could save her mother. Since only humans can use healing magic, and ordinary healers like Orga and Ururu lack combat ability, she sought a healer on the front lines. Though Rose was an option, Amako saw in her dreams that the captain would refuse, leading her to choose Usato. Amako begs Usato to take her to the Beastlands. Suzuna reminds her how crucial Usato is to the kingdom's defense, but Usato finds a middle ground. He has already been assigned to deliver diplomatic letters to other nations, and believes he can extend his journey to help Amako. When Usato asks for permission, Rose tells him to inform the king immediately. Among the Beastmen, future seers are highly valued. Sheltering one could spark conflict, but presenting her to the king could secure the mission's approval. Returning, Usato discovers Amako already knew they must wait for the king's decision. Amako thanks him for believing her, while he credits the vision she showed him for allowing him to save his friends. That night, captured Black Knight, Felm, continues struggling with her new life. When she refuses to eat or be friendly with the squad, Usato intervenes and tells her to eat too. Understanding her situation, he gives her a diary to record her troubles, just as he did during his training. Felm begins to like the idea and starts writing her observations, especially how different Usato is, as he never grows tired. One day, she leaves her training to find Rose in the forest, giving Usato a tough workout. She is amazed at his endurance as he debates with Rose about the changing directions of her punches. Felm is astonished when Usato successfully dodges one strike, though he is immediately kicked. Pleased with his progress, Rose allows Usato to return to his regular training and tells Felm to continue training under Usato's watch. Usato finally asks her name, and she says it's Felm, though she admits few call her that. When Blurrin arrives for training, Felm is annoyed that Usato didn't use her name immediately, and she chases them to prove her strength. That night, Felm falls due to overexertion. Usato heals her so she can sleep, and the other squad members mock his usual training, saying he's beyond normal human limits. Usato angrily says he's more human than Rose. The next morning, Felm overhears that Usato is meeting the king and sneaks away. Rose catches her, initially suspecting she's returning to the demons, but realizes Felm is actually heading toward Usato. Though Felm denies it, Rose senses her concern for the boy, but orders her back to training. At the castle, King Lloyd thanks Amako for helping save the kingdom and grants Usato permission to travel to the Beastlands, repaying her for what she did. The mission plan Welsi provided includes delivering letters to 3 nations before reaching the Beastlands. Kazuki, Suzune, and Welsi will accompany them to the first destination, but after that, it will be Usato, Amako, and 2 knights. Usato is allowed to choose 2 knights as his guards. He chooses the loyal guard Aruku, who vows to protect him with his life. For the other guard, Usato surprises everyone by choosing Blurrin. Before the journey begins, Usato says goodbye to everyone. Felm kicks him in frustration, as she resents that he's escaping intense training, while Orga, Ururu, and Princess Celia support him. Rose gives Usato one last serious piece of advice. Many cultures consider healing magic weak. She instructs him to correct anyone with that mindset firmly, believing it's the best way to fix them. Despite her harshness, she admits she trusts that the journey will improve him, and she believes he will succeed. Usato realizes how much he's come to trust Rose and the people of Linger. As the group sets off on their grand mission, Rose watches from a distance and sends a complaining Felm back to training. Usato gazes toward the horizon, ready to face the secrets and challenges awaiting him in the lands ahead.